There's a portrait of Josh where it looks like he's about to do slam poetry.
I have a fidget ring. And spin it. The JJ patches. We got anime Josh here. Flower crown Josh here. You have a pen. Magnet hoodie. We love the Flowers tour.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
Man, okay. I've been excited to come to Rochester, and I have been also nervous. I mean, I cannot tell if y'all have a mountain lion or not. Listen, I can only go off of what I've been watching. And what I've been watching, I'll just walk you through it. What I saw was a news report. This news report was of someone's Ring camera. I like that the whole community is involved in the surveillance. I like that this wasn't CCTV footage. This was, a person's Ring camera. And in the Ring camera, there is what might be, probably is, definitely looked like a mountain lion going for a late night stroll. Fantastic. The mountain lions have heard that Rochester is a place worth parking, and so the mountain lions have shown up, and one particular mountain lion was letting himself be seen. That ended up on the news where I saw it, and I was like, that does look like a mountain lion. But then the internet being the internet, there were plenty of people that were like, mountain lion, that's a cougar. Nothing makes me want to get into it with people than well, actually, that's so beside the point. A very big cat is walking around Rochester. Cougar, mountain lion, help me with the major difference. And then people started to. Initially, when the report came out, there was a shelter-in-place order, right? And I heard about the shelter-in-place order, and I was like, order? Who was fighting to get outside, knowing there was a mountain lion out there? Who was like, y'all know I always wanted to pet one. This is so unfair. Every time something fun happened, I gotta stay inside. Shelter-in-place order is crazy. I saw people commenting online off the video, and I saw some people that were like, "Aww." Please tell me you understand that if that awe is taken to a mountain lion, that will be the last noise you make. Oh, so sweet. Just licking it. Let's go say hi. Oh. Oh. Wow, okay. And then from there, people contacted the zoo, and to y'all's credit, y'all's zoo was like, hey, nah. Everybody here's supposed to be here. Okay? We not just loose with the gates like some other zoos have been. We got all our cougars, we got all our mountain lions, every cat is here. And the fact that this thing was just strolling as well. It's not running around. Everyone that says they've seen it, it's quickly become this urban legend / mascot of Rochester. Because then the people that have seen it, and look, I'm not saying that if you've seen it, you were supposed to tackle it and take a selfie with it. I believe the people that say they saw it. I believe one person in particular that says that he saw it. I believe the man that your news interviewed that said that he saw it. This man should just be an anchor. The man is on the news, and they turn, and he went, rawr. And I was like, go on. So far, this is very believable. He's like, it went rawr, and I was like, ooh, I'm good. No, none of that. No. I like how that's how you get away from wild animals. It's like, because admittedly, look, I'll tell you, as a black person, that's exactly what's happening. If you see a wild animal out in the not wild, you start conversing with it like somebody you owe a lot of money. Hey, look, no, hey, listen, no, look, no, please, no, no, bruh, no, thank you, no, please. Look, nah, later, maybe, but no, not today. Oh, Lord help me, oh. This man gives this interview, he says he saw it, wow, and then he was like, no, I'm not messing with you, no, thank you, no, I'm out of here, no, I'm not, I don't mess with lions, tigers, bears, good policy. These are good things to keep in mind. I don't mess with any of them. And then my favorite thing about the interview wasn't that he was like, it could be anywhere. It could be in those bushes, as this man looked up. This is why this dude is like low-key one of my favorite people of all time, because I know exactly everything that's going through his thought process while he's talking to the news, and I also could put myself in this situation when he saw the mountain lion. No, it could be in one of these bushes, anywhere. He stopped just short of what I probably would have said, which is like, it could be anywhere. Anywhere, these bushes up here. It could be in the house. It could be you. We don't know each other. Like, how we know he didn't stand up, tuck the tail, and was like, reporting live? Matter of fact, roll up your sleeves. Let me see how far you are. No, my favorite thing about this interview was that this man gave the interview in broad daylight, explaining what he saw while holding a bat. It's like, that's why I keep it with me right now. That's why I got it on me. And I'm like, yes, but no. No, that's why sometimes I don't like the movies that Hollywood makes, that, you know, they put scenes out there that wouldn't go the way that we've imagined. You know, you put Idris Elba in one movie with a lion, and now people think they could fend off a mountain lion with, like, not a thick bat. Like, that was, that bat looked like Pee-wee grade. That was not a slugger, you know? He was like, no, if it come near me, if it comes anything, no. And then y'all did not help the situation. Because then you started posting AI of y'all with the mountain lion. This woman said she heard a row and she looked and he was in the bakery. And I'm like, I'm believing it I'm believing it till I see the picture. I'm over here being like, man, this woman, chill. This woman a straight gangster. She's not just a baker. It was in her store. And they showed the picture. I was like, y'all gotta stop playing. This is supposed to be the news. I was sitting there getting mad. I was like, all right, some of these clearly look fake, but a couple of them don't. Look, you can either post an AI image or you can interview the person. Don't do both. That's disrespectful to my man who's probably still carrying a bat right now. You all over here scared him, making him think the mountain lion everywhere. That was, no, look, don't approach a mountain lion. If you see a mountain lion, there's a whole number you're supposed to call, so some like actual professionals come deal with the mountain lion. That was another little gripe that I had that I will admit. I was like, because I was in my head, I'm like, I'm coming to Rochester. What if I see his mountain lion? I should probably memorize this number. And instead of being in any way catchy, in any way memorable, this number isn't 1-800-SIGHTING. That would be too many numbers, I understand. But like this number is just 1-375-2280. Like it was just such a regular number. I was like, no one will remember that. You couldn't even make a number. You couldn't even make it like 1-800-GET-CATS. Not even try. Now I'm over here, I see the mountain lion, I don't have a bat on me, anything. I'm doing the regular thing, the thing that we know to do. No, I'm not messing with you. I'm not playing with you. Get away from me. Oh no, oh geez, right? And now I'm trying to call the number and I'm like, 1. Now I'm over here, somebody knows the number, that's insane. That's too earnest. Don't. That's we. Imagine though, because this is my thing. This is just my thinking. If I saw the mountain lion, right, and it was over here, not just minding its like ring camera business, not just going about his day. Maybe I saw the mountain lion. The mountain was like, "Hey, city ain't big enough for the both of us." I'm not gonna lie, just for the sake of brevity, I would probably call 911. But the idea that there's a whole extra set of numbers to call if you see the mountain lion makes me wonder that like if you call 911, they'll be like, a mountain lion? You called the wrong 911. Look, I'll give you the number call. Write it down. Write it down. You can't transfer me? No, we 3 numbers, they're 10 numbers. You just can't transfer like that. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, I'm just praying I have a good time in Rochester and I don't see a mountain lion in the very high bushes y'all have. Y'all have been busy since I've been gone. Y'all have had a string, multiple robberies. See, I haven't even specified yet, and y'all have had a string of robberies of the mail. I was reading about it, mail carriers are getting robbed, and that's just, I like an unboxing as much as the next person, but like that's truly insane. It's mail. It's more likely you stealing bills. Imagine. Oh, would have been great if somebody had robbed my house when I only had bills in it, you know? I can't even imagine what that would be like for the mail carrier, because it'd be different if you're like a Brinks truck. It'd be different if you went to wherever, because they go everywhere and they do these shipments from different places and stuff. It would be different if you went to like, you know, some grocery store. They had to do their deposit. You show up with the truck. They always have like 2 of them there. And I used to think that was for security. But the worse the economy gets, I'm like, nah, that's so somebody doesn't quit on the job. That's so somebody doesn't just drive off with the truck. There's at least one other person there to keep you accountable. But they'll have the person who's like loading up the truck or loading something in from the place that they're picking up from. And then they'll have one person just sort of standing there, looking at everybody. I used to work at a grocery store. This exact thing would happen. Like they would come with the truck and there would be somebody that looked at everybody like a suspect. You would have grapes in hand and he'd be like, what's up though? Like you trying to, it's like, oh, I'm trying to, you know, check out, get rung up. It's like, okay, all right, likely story, but okay. And then, you know, they go off, they deliver it to the bank or whatever. I can only imagine if you work at the mail and somebody roll up on you, maybe they have a gun, maybe they don't, and they're like, hey, come up out of everything. I don't even think you'd be trying to be brave. I think out of genuine confusion you'd be like, the mail? Yeah, everything you got. It's like, I can tell you right now, because of the route that I'm on, none of these about to be checks. You know what I mean? Because it's not even like they're robbing the mail carrier of like the best neighborhood. You just robbing the mail in hopes. It would be different if this was like the 1800s. It would, because back in the day when they robbed trains, those trains did bring like mail with them. And a lot of that mail was like, you know, from bank to bank, or somebody sending something to someone that was precious. You know, you had these great train robberies and everything. Now, you'd be sorely disappointed if you were to hop on an Amtrak. You're like, okay, everybody, this is a robbery. It's like, all right, first of all, let me tell you right now, every single car in that Amtrak, bathroom destroyed. So already, you get on the Amtrak, you'll be like, all right, everybody, this is a... Oh, one of y'all sick? What? Because people used to carry their belongings on them, and now it's just one belonging. Like now the phone's more important than the wallet. For some people, the phone is the wallet. That's why when some people forget their phone, I'm like, y'all didn't take life seriously at all today. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one thing if I forget my ID. Or if I forget one of my like cards, or if I forget my keys or my AirPods, like you do the little check before you go, make a song out of it, right? It's very different if you decided, hey, I'm gonna put everything in the phone, that way it's all in one place. Some people even put the card in the little pouch behind their phone. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, this is a horrible idea. Just attaching the wallet to the phone. And they're like, no, now everything's in one place. I'm like, yeah, you made it easy for the mugger. That's all you did. You still gonna be forgetful. I don't know why we think that like changing that thing will like change us. Do you know what I mean? My friend is very forgetful. But then he's like, no, if I just put it all in one thing, I'll be fine. I'm like, no, you'll forget more at once. Your day will be worse. Because then, I already saw this, right? You saw that they put the phone into the back of the case, into the wallet, right? All one thing. Then they were like, why even use a case? Let's just mush the credit cards into the phone, let everybody pay with their phone. So now, a lot of my friends don't even carry credit cards. It's just the phone. So now when you forget your phone, I'm like, who are you? The phone was your ID, it was your credit card, it was your phone. This is what's crazy about losing a phone now, not just on top of like how much we keep in it, but my friend locked himself out of his house because he had put his keys in his phone. Because you know they have that thing now where certain scan, you can scan and then just boom, click, and then the door opens. He did that. Because he was like, why keys? Keys are so archaic. And then pitched it to me like this. Why am I just walking around all day jingling? What am I, the crypt keeper? Why am I running around here, cling, 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 cling? No. That is entertainment for babies, all right? Only thing that keys are good for, put the keys into the phone. And then with the credit card, he was like, why am I just carrying around plastic all the time? Then the card expired. You don't even know the card was about to expire. So then you over here trying to pay for your groceries looking dumb. Looking over here. No, I swear, there's money in the account. I don't know why this is happening. You got the Brinks guy staring at you like, all right, you said it was all about grapes, but it looked like it's not all about grapes. So what's really hood? Now I put the card in my phone. I put the keys in my phone. I got everything all the time. And I'm like, all right, but what happens when you don't have the phone? Because you're telling me all this as like the reason to put everything inside of one thing. But now you're locked out. You're locked out of your apartment and you're sitting in my apartment. Somebody who uses a key to get in. I don't know. I feel bad for you. You gotta use this archaic technology. You gotta turn it with your wrist like you're from 2000 BC. And then that's the other thing that was crazy. It's like all these things that were for ease, he ended up being so much worse off because I told him, I was like, you didn't even have your phone on you to call me. You had to find me. Do you realize how much crazier that is? If you had kept it all separate, if you had diversified your belongings, and then realized, ooh, I forgot my phone. Let me use my key to walk back into my apartment and maybe send an email to a friend or let someone know I'm gonna be late, right? Or if I, forgot my key, I now have a card and a phone to either call someone else who has the key or just go to, where we keep our spare key. You can go where you keep your spare key. Because you keep a spare key, right? You keep one physical copy, right? You keep one physical key, and then you keep your phone key, because one of those keys isn't dumb. And he was like, why would I have a backup regular key? Just so somebody can find that key, break into my place, and steal all my belongings. I'm like, it sounds like you have one belonging. It sounds like... I'm waiting for when they do that. I'm waiting for when Apple is like, no, put the couch in the phone. Just trying to get you to sit on your phone to be comfortable. And then when your phone cracks, it's like, oops, maybe that was a bad idea, but you will need a new phone. We're doing all this stuff and it's just doing too much. Doing too much and doing too much. And then you get to the place where you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. You get to the place where you're robbing the mail. Truly for what? At best, it might be like a blender. If you are robbing the mail and it is not an Amazon package, you're already losing. Because when I tell you right now, this mail that you're stealing, this like paper that you're stealing, is paper that the people it's going to don't want. Forget bills. This is like begging people to open up a new credit card. It's begging people to subscribe to a magazine they subscribed to one time. It's just asking for money. And then you do that, and then you open all that mail in your place, which is also against the law. You doubling up on felonies. What's the plan here? Because now you've opened the check. Let's say you got a check. Let's say somebody still works in 1990. And let's say that you got the check. What is the plan now? To go to the bank and be like, hey, I'm 8 people. But who knows? Maybe the banks in Rochester just cash whatever y'all bring. I have no idea. Maybe this makes sense. I know it's been spoken on already, but I am genuinely, I've been looking it up, I've been educating myself, and I'm fascinated at the origin of the garbage plate. Because here's the thing. I'm not here to talk about if it's good or not, or the aesthetic or anything like that. I'll get to the aesthetic, but like the name. I don't know. This is what I think happened. This is okay. Look, I'm pitching you what I think happened because we didn't have to get here. Anything that is good does not also have to have like a derogatory name, right? But I think that like something happened. Something happened where like I live in New York City. I live in Brooklyn, and New York City is very dirty. There's a lot of garbage out. No alleys, just street. I remember the first time when I moved to New York, because I moved to New York with very little frame of reference of what New York would be like. And so I moved to New York and I saw the trash on the street and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know we were in a state of emergency. I had no idea. I picked the wrong time to move because the garbage, and piled up too, almost organized in its chaos, piled up about waist high at the sidewalk, you know? And then I realized that's what you do there. You put the garbage on the street. Like for a day, well, not a day, for like 3 days out of the week, we are the garbage. And somehow nobody has seen fit to just make an alley. Isn't this one of the oldest cities in America? At any point in time, somebody could have been like, look, we're gonna have to like eminent domain this one brownstone so that everybody doesn't have to live like the apocalypse happened 5 months ago. It will be a beautiful day in New York City. You'll be walking happy. And then you will, as an adult, I thought I smelled all the smells. As a grown person, I was positive I'd even smelled all the mixes. And sometimes you'll be walking in New York City and it will be a beautiful day. It'll be a picturesque day. It'll be one of those days that they direct movies with the scene that you're seeing. It's almost like God's cinematography. When you look around New York City, the sun is coming up. There's that golden hour. Everything's shining off. The building's just perfect. Maybe you walking and you walking with somebody you love. You holding hands and everything. And then you even go to say, I love you, right? You go to express, because you get swept up in this moment, this beautiful, beautiful moment that somehow you can only experience in New York City. Plenty of places are beautiful, but this moment can only happen in New York City. And you go to say, I love you, but that means you open your mouth. And so now this person whose eyes you were looking deep into, you go, You can't even describe it. You can't even describe it. The only thing that even comes close to it is if you like ran onto like an Amtrak train with the bathroom door open. You've never felt or smelled anything like that. You felt like you were walking through a cloud when it happened. And now you're doubled over. That moment has happened in New York City for as long as New York City has been around. Since its founding. Since they were like, no, just mush them together. No, everybody want to live here, mush them together. No, and on top too, let's build up. No, it means more trash, but it means more people to, pay more taxes for us to still not have figured this out. Look, it's a phenomenal idea. There's no way, no, you can't cut through these buildings. You can't tear something down. No, that'd be crazy. This thing is worth $2 million. This piece of property that nobody wants, that no one will ever want, is also worth $2 million. No, we can't make it an alley. That would be useful. And so, I think maybe somebody saw that entire situation. And they were in Rochester and they were eating at one of their favorite places and they were like, that looks exactly like what's in front of me right now. I've seen it and I feel like there were other names because there were other words available. You know what I mean? This is how I'll put it. It would be like if I baked a cake, right? If I baked a cake and it was a triple chocolate cake, right? So, and not just triple chocolate in the way that's like chocolate layer, chocolate layer, chocolate layer. Let's say I really took my time. I really did something like decadent. I really made like one layer almost like chocolate chip cookie. It's a little bit more brownie than it is like cake. And then the layer above that, I went a little bit like dark chocolate with it, right? And it had a little bit of filling in the sides of it that was also like something you don't usually get in chocolate cake. And then the top of the chocolate cake, very light. Very, like, not the, like, fondant type stuff, like very light icing and a very, like, moist top, melts in your mouth, right? And then you had this chocolate cake, and it was actually, let's just say for the sake of argument, the best chocolate cake you've ever had in your life. Incredible. You were moved by how good this chocolate cake is, because you never had chocolate cake like it. This might make you act different, move different throughout your life. You never had chocolate cake like this before. Never has somebody put chocolate cake on a dish and then you put fork to cake and then fork to mouth and cake to mouth and then felt this good about your life and yourself, right? It's never happened before. And so then you ask because now there's a different person. You're a different person when you had the cake, before you had the cake, and after you had the cake, right? You're about to move through the world with more love, knowing that there's cakes like this to be had. You're about to spread the good word of this cake, because more people should have this cake, more people should feel this happiness, right? And you take a break from chewing, from everything, to ask me, what kind of cake is this? And instead of saying triple chocolate cake, instead of listing the ingredients, you ask me what type of cake it is, and I say, Dookie. I called it Dookie, because, you know. No, because when you look at the plate, you know what I mean? No, it looked like Dookie, so I called it Dookie. That makes it more enticing, doesn't it? Have another slice of Dookie. That's when I garbage plates. They may have found signs of ancient life on Mars. And I don't know how that helps us. Y'all did it. You know what I mean? Ancient life on Mars. Not current life. To my understanding, they have found signs that somebody used to be there. Okay. All right. Imagine somebody coming to you and being like, this place used to be cool. Because I've thought about that. I've thought about how, what if, let's just say, for the sake of argument, what if there was like ancient life on Mars? And like ancient beings, we're not talking about like little microbes or anything like that, like intelligent beings. Like obviously we would call them aliens and everything because they're over there, we're over here. But like they lived on Mars. And then even though they're intelligent beings, they didn't always act in a way that was intelligent. You know what I mean? They didn't take care of themselves, each other, or their planet. And maybe they built out systems that didn't actually benefit all of them, just a few. And then it got to a point where they were not just unhappy with each other, they were unhappy with their planet, a planet that they had basically ruined. It used to be dope, and now it's whatever it is now. And so then they worried that there was no way to reverse course. There was still time, but they were like, what are you gonna do? And so then over time, remember, this is ancient. Remember how long the universe has been around. They looked around and they were, in some ways, very intelligent. Maybe intelligent enough to find another place to live. And maybe they find a place, and maybe it's called Earth. And maybe they went to Earth and they, been on Earth for so long, they forgot where they came from, but being intelligent beings, they made all the same mistakes all over again. And so then there comes this day where they look around and not really happy with themselves or each other or their planet, and rather than hopefully not wrecking it or themselves, they're like, what if we went to Mars? I don't know, maybe there's something there. Because I do think that, I don't know, I feel like that's as likely as finding life on Mars. Because that is where we're at for the most part. There's a lack of belief in the idea that you can still build community, or the idea that people can still see each other as people. That's incredibly troubling and scary. I think that we rely now on communication that is more served to us than we seek out. We feel like we seek it out because we're discovering it in real time. In real time, you are discovering your For You page. In real time, you are discovering when you're scrolling, and you feel like because you're making the choice to scroll that it's the choice what you see next, but it really isn't. And based on a bunch of things about you, we think we're shaping the algorithm, and it's a high likelihood it's the other way around. Because based on how you've built your habits, gets based on whether you get served contempt or compassion. And so then, when it's time for us to talk, we have a very different view of how people are in the world. Like all of social, all of this stuff, every platform, it's just a mirage. But when you're out in the desert by yourself, which it feels like a lot of people feel that way. A ton of people feel like they're out by themselves, right? And you see this thing up ahead and you think you know what it is, and it turns out to be a mirage. It's very hard to convince anyone of that idea. And so that's what I watch more of than anything else. It's just the idea that I know what's going on. I know what people are saying. I know how people think, and I've got a big picture of everything that's going on. It's like, I promise you have a snapshot. No person, no single person online is one thing. No idea is one shared belief by everyone. And once again, no matter what you do, even when you think you're gaming the system, even when you're like, but I log out sometimes. I guarantee you're being served a certain amount of contempt and a certain amount of compassion, and it's all driven to keep driving you. You want to know what people think, you want to know how people are, you just talk to people. This is the only way to find out. If you want community, you build it as best as possible, and you build it in any way that you can. Some of that will include being online. Some of that, I'm not talking about talking to your friend in a DM. I'm talking about the way we see each other is so important, and the way we see each other is being molded and affected without people understanding that they didn't actually get to participate in some of this. You don't know what impact you have to anyone that's outside of your sphere. It's why I do my best. I'm not perfect, but why I do my best to be, hopefully, the best version of myself all the time. Because people are only going to see a sliver. So if what they see is good, maybe they'll think the world's a little bit better. And if they see bad, they might think the world's a little worse. And it goes moment to moment. And no matter how much you try to put out, you can still get drowned out. But I know that when I see people, when I see anger, when I see hate, when I see love, when I see compassion, I know that I'm seeing all of it at one time. And then the real mix of it that's out there is different than what's in my phone. The same way you shouldn't put your keys and your wallet and your... Do you know what I mean? The same way that if you put everything in the phone and then you lose sight of what you're up to, you're lost. It's the same way that you cannot just trust that what you're seeing and what people are saying, and these people as well, these people, whoever these people are. Because that's the other thing about opinions online. It's the other thing about people online. We didn't vote for like a king or queen of online. Somehow any person saying anything is representative of everybody at any given point. That's not possible. I wish it was what was happening when it was like a smart person. But like, who knows? Like, smart people usually don't keep you online because they're like, hey, you should live your life. It's very bad for business. When people live their lives and when they meet people and when they talk to people and they have real conversations with people, when they really sit down with people and they get to know people, that's scary. It's scary for everybody who benefits from what you're like when you're just on your phone. You need to be very, very careful of how we look at other people, how we judge other people, because I'm telling you right now, this thing will run away from you. You will leave the house thinking the entire world is the devil without ever having checked with any other person. Do you know what I mean? I've gone outside and I've talked to people, and there are people, I'll tell you right now, there are people that scare me. There are people that scare me. There are people that walk around on trash day in New York and yawn. That's insane. I don't know if it gets crazier. That's terrifying. And I'm talking like hot summer trash day. Not today, Satan. No, I see that, and I'm not gonna lie, I cross the street. I treat them like they got a pit bull. I treat them like, you know? Well, yeah. Like I don't know. And sometimes you want to throw your hands up and just say, none of it's worth it or anything. And I don't know. I just don't believe that. There are some things that happening and your response, what you put out into the world, it is coming back. It may not feel that way. And maybe you're a kid and you're impulsive and somebody makes you angry online, so you get real nasty with everybody all day, and you don't even think about like the ripple effect that thing has. But like, people take online, obviously is not real, but people take real things off of it, you know. And I've talked about this before. I'll never stop talking about it because I genuinely believe it from the bottom of my heart that the bravest thing you ever do. I remember I read this and it stuck with me, and I hope it sticks with me for the entirety of my life, because this is how people make money. This is how people control you. This is how people mess with your mind. This is how people turn you against other people. The bravest thing that you will ever do in your entire life is accept that there's nothing wrong with you, nothing intrinsically wrong with you. There's nothing that is like that needs to be bought to fix you. There's nothing that you need to, and that is not to say that everyone is a perfect person. I'm not saying people don't need to work on themselves. I'm saying that like you are not beyond the measure of like the love and care that a person should receive, right? And then the second scariest thing you'll ever do in your life, and like some people can't do it. Some people live and die. They get buried without ever doing it. The other scariest thing you'll ever do in your entire life, I promise you, is change your mind. And like, I don't think that I personally don't think we're in a place where we're too far gone. These two things can still happen. It takes a second for them to happen. It takes a moment for either one of them to happen. That there is nothing wrong with you. Now, you're not perfect. You make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing unfixable, unlovable about you. And then there's a world that looks different than the world in your phone, or even the world from your experiences. But I promise you, changing your mind will not kill you. But this isn't the world. It's not even your world. It's just what you're being served to keep you on the platform. But I think somewhere along the line, we start to feel like it's a window instead of a TV. Do you know what I mean? It's not a window. There's no way to know what everybody thinks, and there is no like side to reality. So when you're watching something, and when you're watching people react to something, you're seeing a piece of it, but you have to remember what you're being served. Like that's what's happening. Different amounts, compassion, contempt, depends on how you look, depends on where you go. It's worth seeing the full picture for yourself. I think to fail to do that is to start to fail to be as human as you can be. You know, this thing that we have is this incredible tool, but like tools are also weapons. A tool can protect you, and you can use it to hurt other people. Like if you thought a mountain lion was like walking around all the time and you just had a bat with you just in case, it's like not. But these things are tools, and it's very important to remember who's using the tool. We think it's us all the time, and I think that is a mistake. To think that we use it, that it doesn't work the other way around ever. I love you all, and I appreciate every single one of you. I don't want to see people destroy themselves because they thought that they had a mirror, they thought that they had a window, and they just had a TV. You know? So I appreciate every single one of y'all. I can't even describe it. I was so excited to come here and spend time with you, and that is definitely in spite of the mountain lion. So, Rochester, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all so much.
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
I think that debate is incredibly important. It means a lot if you can take the time to distill all your thoughts, put them up against the thoughts of someone that you don't agree with, and at least come to some common ground, find some basis in reality of at least why the two of you believe what you believe, right? My worry, though, is that every day debate is getting dumber. like in a way that's not even savable now. I mean, it's one thing for us to disagree about something and then try to talk the thing out as best as possible. But what's happening now is insane. Especially online. I am watching so many people argue if 100 men can beat one gorilla. Based on the comments I am seeing, I'm terrified that one gorilla might outsmart 100 men. This is very bad. The logic is not lining up here at all. It's a gorilla. It's gorilla. You don't really need to know much. It's gorilla. Gorilla. Like it's a gorilla and it's 100 dudes, but we haven't even established the parameters of the battle. We haven't. Like some people, for their scenario, they want to use 100 UFC fighters specifically. And it's like, all right, maybe. But also, where is the battle taking place? If this is 100 men versus one gorilla in an open field, maybe everybody can flank them and surround them and jump on each other and try to smother them or whatever the plan is. But if this is just a gorilla running into a Blink Fitness, everybody dying. Like everybody die. Every single person in there is dying. If this was just a gorilla running up into church, then yeah, nobody's making it. The plans are insane. The ways that people who I know don't actually own dry erase boards have gone to the store
bought a dry erase board specifically for this purpose, brought it home and then put it in front of their phone like they just had that in the garage or something. Breaking out the marker, going through the whole thing. And this is what gets me, right? Is that no matter who you talk to, anyone that really believes that these 100 men are gonna beat this one gorilla, no matter who you talk to, everybody is like, all right, look, some of y'all will die. It's like, that's why it's not gonna work. You didn't say us. You said some of y'all, which means you plan on. That's the thing that really gets me, is that you're assuming that 100 men are gonna cooperate. Like, you're assuming 100 men are just gonna be like, yeah, you got it, boss. No, you don't mean cooks are gonna be in that kitchen? Probably enough for a gorilla to kill. That's crazy. 100. I've been going, it's been a week. It's been a full week of me arguing with people. I'm like, guys, it's a gorilla. It's a gorilla. Okay. No. This is important. All right? Because I can tell just by the vibe in here that a couple of the dudes in here are like, nah. I can feel it. I can legitimately feel it. I'm not psychic at all, but I'm looking at you, look at me, and I can see a couple of y'all are like, maybe he can't do it, but somebody's been working out all winter. Okay. No, okay, this is important, all right? So, in the true crime documentary space, okay, as men, we've had a rough go of it. Turns out we do most of the killing, okay? We do a lot of the killing. We do a bunch of it. Some would say all, some would say we just haven't caught the women yet. But we do a ton of it, all right? We do an HBO, a Netflix, a Paramount, a Hulu, a Disney Plus amount of the killing, all right? We do all the podcast killing, we do all that, right? And because we do all that, we've been getting a bad rap for a while. There's a lot of people like, ooh, you going to a dinner date with a man? Watch out, girl, right? Like it's just all of us killing all the time. I haven't killed anybody. I've been at home watching these men kill. But said all that to say that in 2024, we got a bit of a reprieve, right? We got a little bit of a stay on our beat down in the media as men, right? Because a documentary series came out called Chimp Crazy, all right? Now, Chimp Crazy is, you may not recognize it as the savior that it is, but you gotta remember that in documentary series, all of them, almost exclusively, have been about men being evil and bad and murdering and all this other stuff. And then finally, there was a show called Chimp Crazy, where almost exclusively white women were adopting chimps, letting them get too strong and releasing them into the community. And it's like, that's what we needed. It's not all up. Finally, something is not a man's fault, because they interviewed these women and they're like, no, he's like my baby. And then he gets real strong. She's like, ooh, let him out the window. Like, if you have not watched it, it is a phenomenal series. It is genuinely terrifying and insane, and it is both brilliantly done and horrible to watch, but also captivating. You can't look away. It is truly insane. And I know that there should probably be a name. There should probably be a name for what this thing is that these ladies have, because basically in the US we like having exotic animals, and one of the exotic animals that people really love having is chimps, right? And so these people get chimps on the black market, and when you get a chimp very, very young, it does act almost exactly like a human baby. Now what's so crazy about this situation is that some of the women in these chimp crazy scenarios, they do have kids. They have kids. The kid will even be like, oh yeah, I went to college and came back and she didn't notice. She loved that chimp. That chimp is her favorite. Yeah, I don't even know what to do. Right? So some of these women do have kids, some of them don't, right? But they treat the chimp like a child, because when they get it, it genuinely needs them the way that a baby would need a mother. They even have to hold the bottle for the milk, and they have to cradle it just like a baby and everything. And it's very sweet, it's very cute, and the chimp does get attached to them, like deeply attached, like a baby would, right? And the first 2 years of owning a chimp, you shouldn't do it, don't do it. The first 2 years of owning a chimp is exactly like having a baby. You know, they're not really talking, they're learning to walk, they're doing all the stuff like on this sort of timetable that's almost close to like a human baby, right? And then at three, the chimp does get stronger than a baby, but still acting like a baby. You can still train it and tell what to do and get it to stop doing stuff and everything, because the chimp is like, it's taking in all of the stimulus around it, and if you raise it like a kid, it'll start acting like a kid. At five is where you run into trouble, because at 5 is the first time the chimp looks around and goes, I'm the strongest one in here. I don't think I'm going to bed. All right? So, said all that to say that one example is in the show Chimp Crazy. This woman is, okay, so she has her chimp, right? And the chimp, they've been trying as a community, as a city, they've been telling her, you gotta get rid of this chimp. She's like, no, it's my baby, no, I can't do that, no, right? Never mind the chimp. She would take the chimp in the truck with her to go places, so she'd take it to go get ice cream or whatever. And there was one time she took it to go get ice cream, and it just got out of the truck and nobody could get it back in, and it stopped traffic because it was like, I like where I'm standing right now, and I bet you won't move me, right? And so then the city told her, look, if anything like this ever happens again, we have to come get the chimp. You can't just have the chimp stopping traffic and stuff. She's like, okay, right? Then one day, the chimp's got to be like, oh, it's over 5 now. And it's just wilding out because it's like, you know what? I should be in the trees. I should be in the trees, and wood paneling isn't going to cut it. So it's flying throughout the home, right? And she freaking out. So then, as much as these women are like, this is my baby, this is my child, whatever, when you listen to the 911 call, almost every time, they're like, shoot it. Almost exclusively. Every single time, right? And so basically, then she's over here, she is either making so much noise or calls her neighbor that her neighbor comes over to help her, right? Now, this neighbor doesn't love the chimp like she loves the chimp. So the neighbor is like, we have a wild animal in here that will kill us on purpose or by accident. I have no idea, right? And she's already calling. She's calling the 911, and she's like, shut it, right? And then her neighbor, in order to try to subdue the chimp, attacks the chimp from behind, right? And then the chimp turns around, and I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but that chimp slapped her face off. And that's not even a gorilla. So you have no chance against a gorilla. In what world do you have the nerve to think you could last again? And then you see the dudes in here. No, okay, we gonna send them in waves, right? So that first wave gonna get in there trying to tire him out. It's like, no, he won't get tired if he kills for fun. If murder is his favorite game, he's not gonna get tired of anything. No. You run it up on that gorilla. Gorilla just grabbed 2 dudes, right? Just grab their legs, use them as nunchucks to beat everybody else. They're over here going full Bruce Lee with it. No, it's insane. This is an insane premise. No, you're assuming 100 men are going to cooperate, coordinate, execute this plan. You're assuming you don't have a single coward in there. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not the one, all right? You better pray I'm not one of your 100 men. You'll know you shouldn't be jumping the gorilla with me, because I'll be that type. If you ever have somebody in your clique like this, don't do the jumping. If there's somebody like me, it's like, let's get them, fellas. That's a sign of somebody who's about to get you killed, all right? If they say fellas, that's insane. Attack, boys. No. It's true. I'm not that guy. And I'm fine not being that guy too. There's some people that need to prove something to someone all the time. That's not me. I became very comfortable with who I was a long time ago. Even in other situations, you know, I can already tell you right now, when it comes to things getting bad in the world, apocalypse type of stuff, I'll die. Apocalypse, I will be dying. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I don't know. You know, I had some friends that I went to church with, all prepping and all this stuff like that. I was like, I don't know why you trying so hard to live if the apocalypse happens. Like, we both think we going to the same place. I'm gonna get there early. Why would I keep fighting? No, that's crazy. I'm not gonna keep fighting after bullets. I can't make bullets, so that's the end of my fighting, right? And I can barely hold a gun at that. I'm gonna miss a lot. So if it's like a zombie apocalypse situation, I'm getting bit, okay? I'm not trying to get bit. I'm not gonna offer up my neck or something like that. I just already know that if I'm in a zombie apocalypse situation, when the zombie is coming at me, I'm gonna be like, oh, he ain't got no ears, 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 he ain't got no ears. I will not be running. He ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears. Biting my neck, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no... No, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm a zombie immediately. You know, I feel like I wouldn't even zombie right. If I'm really being for real with you, I don't think I would do it. I don't think I would zombie like in a way that made my family proud. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I could. Because I'm already not a fighter. I wasn't fighting enough to not be a zombie. I was ready to die. You know, like I've watched The Last of Us. I was like, would not be me. That's not making it to season 2, probably not episode 3, all right? You're not gonna catch me fighting to live in a world with no Wi-Fi. Are you serious? What are you doing? I'm out here trying to treat this water, drinking dirty water, but I put charcoal in it, so maybe that'll get some of the... Just so I can read by candlelight? Are you serious? No. I'm not gonna be fighting this hard to live in the past. No, and then I get bit, now I'm a zombie, and I'm an embarrassing zombie. I just don't think I would have... I don't know if I got the base to be a zombie. Do you know what I mean? Because zombies supposed to be like, right? I don't know what it is. I feel like I would just be like, I got my hands wrong too. Zombies don't even want to hunt with me. They're like, ugh. Even humans are like, can I be bit by anybody but him? Like, I don't like what he's doing. Oh, new zombies trying to show me how to zombie right. Like maybe, I don't know, who knows? Maybe somebody I know got bit before me. And zombies can like communicate a little bit. Because it's like a virus that you both share and you trying to spread to other people. So there's pulling people aside, trying to get them to give me a chance, you know. And over here like, And that's how I die twice. Like, all I'm saying, all I'm really trying to say is that I'm not like a survivor in that way, you know? And so if it's me and 99 other people, it is up to those 99 other people to take out this gorilla. Because the other thing, even when you have a plan, famously, Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. In the case of a gorilla, everyone has a plan until they get their whole face slapped off. Because even if we're all charging in, let's get them, fellas. Even if we're all rushing in, right? And we're boot to boot, side by side. You're there to protect the man next to you, and you're running in with everything that you have. We will, out of instinct, stop the first face that comes on. We will be like, ooh, that, just that hesitation alone. 3 more of us died. Just that, oh, you can't even have that. Oh, because if we're talking about 100 men, this is the way I imagined it. And maybe I'm wrong to the people who I think are wrong. The way I imagined it, it was 100 men. It'd be 100 men at random, 100 different body types, 100 different backgrounds, 100 different ages, you know? So I think you're rushing in with 100 random men. If you even have a plan, if you really think you can pull this off, right? I think you still have to take into account who you're going to have by virtue of that randomness. Like, I think out of 100 men, you're going to get at least 9, maybe as high as 13 actual martial arts practitioners. People who actually know how to fight. And actually knowing how to fight may not save you, because you got to remember, men lose fights to men. Every time men fight, a man lose. So just because he knows some stuff doesn't mean it's going to be effective. You might have your jiu-jitsu practitioner in there. Blue, black, who knows? Whatever belt suits your fancy for the scenario. He runs in. He actually syncs up an arm bar on that gorilla. Gets him right where he wants him. Grabs the arm, legs in between, pulling it, trying to break that elbow, right? Pulling it as hard as he can. And you see the gorilla go, oh. Oh. That is useful. Bow, 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 bow. Now you just made the gorilla a gauntlet to beat the rest of us with. You know? Get a Muay Thai fighter in there. Ooh. Muay Thai with a short, close combat. That's where you get the elbows in, where you get the knees in, right? And maybe he gets that gorilla right where he wants him, jumps up, wraps his hands around the gorilla's head, goes for that knee, right? And then the gorilla's like, that knee was delicious. Turns out knees are my favorite flavor. I will be attributing that to the rest of my combatants. You might have somebody in there, ooh, somebody well-versed, potentially a master of Kung Fu. And we're talking old-style Kung Fu, the things they made the movies of, right? He'll be a great distraction. You have him off to the side. Hey, gorilla! Y'all now. Y'all get him. Hey, get him. Hey, hurry. Y'all, he getting close. Y'all. Hey, he getting close. Hey, don't run. Oh, he getting close. Y'all, hurry, do something. The last half was in heaven because he died away, like halfway through that. Because there are people who don't want to believe that individuals like this exist. But they do. They do. Out of 100 men, you're going to have at least one of those people that's really gifted with animals. And I don't mean, by the way, like a vet. I mean gifted with animals the way that they make TV shows about those people. You know those dog people? Those dog whisperers? They make the whole TV show. You don't know what... He doesn't actually train you in what he doing. He just knows how to do it. You know, dog acting all bad and everything, and then he whisper in the dog's ear, and you can't tell what he's saying. He's just sort of making noises. But the dog is like, ooh, you cooking, okay. Yes, that does make sense. I should stop biting people in the face, yeah. For every 100 men, I believe, personally, you will have one Doolittle. You'll have one guy that can really communicate with an animal. There are people, and there are animal people. And he is the most animal person. He is an animal person, squared, right? He just knows something, connection to nature. There's something intuitive there. And he goes, hey, y'all, look, we're almost all dead. Let me try. And you're inclined to let him try because you're down to like 43 of you. So if it didn't happen with 100, the odds are getting slimmer by the guy. That's the only thing that bothered me about the whole thing, where it's like there was one dude whose whole plan was for the first 20 guys to die. I'm like, well, then it's really just 80 of you versus a gorilla. Those are worse odds. Anyway, he goes up to the gorilla, and maybe he's beating his chest, maybe he's making noises. I don't know what he's doing because I don't know how to do it, but he's going up there. And the gorilla is even like, oh, okay. Well, what's that there? And he goes up and even gets close. And the other guys are hanging back. They're like, oh, what should we do? I don't know. It's working. He's talking to him. Should we try to get behind him? I don't know. Let him do what he's going to do. Maybe the gorilla will kill himself. I don't know. He goes up to the gorilla and he's communicating in whatever shared language, shared motions, movements that they have. And he tells that gorilla, hey, look. It's about 43 of us left. Kill everybody but me.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Please make some noise for Josh Johnson!
There's a lot of times when you're reading the news, going through all these stories that are deeply depressing. Every once in a while you get something that's a little, I don't know, a little spark. Something that takes your mind off of all the bad stuff, even if it is one of the bad things, you know? Like, I don't know if y'all saw, but Diddy's lawyer trying to quit. Okay, Diddy. If you're not familiar, Diddy is gonna be buried under a prison. But in the Constitution, for as long as we have one, there are things. For as long as we have a Constitution, there are things laid out in it that state your rights as a citizen, you know, and your rights in court. You have the right to not incriminate yourself. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to a speedy trial. You know, you have these rights because we've tried to set up to the best of our ability and not a great ability, a justice system that kind of works. You know what I mean? I look at the American justice system the way I look at my uncle's car, right? It barely runs, but it does turn on and off. Like, functionally, it is still a car, even if you do have to push it sometimes to really get it started, and you can't trust the brakes. It's functionally, it fills the definition of a car. You know? And when I look at the justice system, I'm like, it's a system. But within that system, for as long as we've had it, we've had an individual, whether they did or did not do something, needs to be represented by someone up against the state or the party suing them. And the people that take on these criminal cases, maybe they take them on because they just know our system works best when there's at least someone where it won't be popular, but there's someone to stand on the other side of the thing to make sure that the scales are balanced, that gives an honest effort, even if this person did what they're accused of doing, is a monster. None of that matters, because for the justice system to be a system, we at least have to walk in the door with the scales at balance, right? Innocent till proven guilty, and just something so that we don't all tear each other apart. And then there are people who really believe their clients. They really believe in the innocence of this person. They're like, I know this thing looks bad, and I know from every angle that everyone should just throw their hands up, but I believe this person when they told me that they didn't do it, and so they represent them, right? And neither of those seem to be the case for Diddy. Like that was all mostly theoretical. It's just his lawyer quitting. His lawyer's name, I might be mispronouncing it, but I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Rico, which is one of the most insane last names to have while not wanting to represent Diddy at all. That would be like your lawyer's name being Danny Murder, and he's like, I can't be next to you, though. That's wild that I can't be over here. Because I didn't even know that lawyers, I didn't know that lawyers could quit. Everything I know about the law, I know from like movies and TV and stuff. And usually when you're watching a movie or TV show where someone is having, you know, a butting head scene with their lawyer, it's either the lawyer being like, well, look, if you're not going to be honest with me, you're not going to tell me everything, then you can just find somebody else. And you don't really know what that means, right? Or the person in jail be like, oh, you're not even doing your job. You don't even believe me. You know what? You're fired. And then I don't know what that means. You know? But in Diddy's case, this person, I didn't know that you couldn't just quit. I didn't know that you could quit, but I also, if you could quit, I didn't know you couldn't just quit. This is sounding dumber than I'm intending it to sound, but I'm telling you the way I found out. I didn't know that you could quit, and then when I found out you could quit, I didn't know that you couldn't just leave. You have to file a motion to quit. You have to like let the judge know I need to quit. You can't just quit the way you quit at Costco. You can't just walk out middle shift.
Like, you know what? I'm gonna do something else with my life. You know? And so, he filed a motion so that he could quit. And in the motion, he says, under no circumstances can I continue. Woof. Under no circumstances can I continue. This man's paying you millions of dollars. Under no circumstances can I continue. And then they, you ask, hey, why can't you continue? And he said, hey, look, I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay? People are asking him, I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay? Because that would violate attorney-client privilege, which I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. I don't know many laws at all. But that sounds very guilty to me. That sounds wildly guilty. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. That sounds very guilty. It feels like when you're saying, hey, why are you quitting? Because I have to. Why? I can't tell you it would violate attorney-client privilege. That sounds like he did it then. That sounds like he did everything then. And the thing that's special about this particular lawyer, Anthony Rico, saying under no circumstances can I continue, is that this guy was Osama bin Laden's lawyer. And it's like that. Sir, what did he do? What did he do to make you, who defended Osama bin Laden, who defended Osama bin Laden in 2001, peak Osama? If there was ever a time where the heat was on Osama bin Laden, it was 2001. And you were right there, like my client. But Diddy, you were Diddy's lawyer. And you were like, you know what? Terrorism is one thing. This guy is nasty, okay? That is very nasty. I can't be a part of this. Tonight it doesn't sit well with my soul. Oh. Because I know if you're Diddy's lawyer, you got your work cut out for you. You got a whole lot of work cut out for you. You have to hope a new pandemic breaks out that only affects memory. That's the only way you have a chance, is if almost everybody forgets everything. Because look, once again, most of what I know about the law, comes from like Law and Order, which means I know nothing about the law. Because in Law and Order, they got to wrap it up pretty quick. They take you on a journey, but they got to wrap it up by the end of the episode. Everything can't be to be continued, and so they got to wrap it up. So if they choose to have any of the episode take place in court, a lot of times what will happen, especially if you get into those close minutes where you're like, ooh, it's almost top of the hour, how are we going to resolve this, right? They usually just have the prosecutor, like the DA or the ADA, really badger the defendant, right? Like, you did it, didn't you do it? You did it, and you do it again. You looking and doing it right now. You did it, and you did it, and you did it well, and then you did it, and then you got caught, and you wish you were doing it right now. Look at you, you're not even here. You're letting your eyes glaze over. You're in your mind doing it again. Look at him, he's doing it again right now. He's doing it in front of us, and doing it, and doing it, and doing it. Didn't you do it? Just say you did it, because you did it, and we all know that you did it. You'll never not have done it, because you did it, and you know you did it. You do it again if we let you out. You doing it right now in your mind. You did it, and then the other person finally goes, I did it. And usually they freak out and they're like, I can't handle having to say no more than 8 times. I did it. Oh no, the jury. Dick Wolf. And that's not how it actually works in the real world. Like, sure, there are people who testify and then don't help their case. They get up there and they say things that maybe make them look like they're not sorry or make them look more guilty than they're even presumed to be and everything. But you don't really have that with Diddy. Not just because the trial hasn't started, but with Diddy, he did record himself doing everything he's accused of doing, and the FBI has it. That is Pretty bad. Only thing worse than doing something is doing it on camera. You know? Even if the entire jury could not see, they could hear. So it's rough. He also has not only the lawyer that Osama bin Laden had. Diddy's got like 3, 4, 5, 6 lawyers. Got a lot of lawyers. I didn't even know you could have that many lawyers. I guess you can have as many lawyers as you want, but like that already. I'm not a lawyer. Glad I'm not on the jury, but that looks very guilty to me. Everyone that I know who's ever gone to jail or been found innocent and didn't go to jail, they had one lawyer. They had one lawyer to be like, hey, it's just me and he didn't do it. That was the whole proceeding, right? They didn't have a soccer team. That's crazy. You got so many lawyers. I bet you that was one of the things that his lawyer said. He was like, look, you're gonna be good. You got 80 other lawyers. Okay, you don't need me. Let me go. Please, I know too much. No, because at a certain point, a certain amount of lawyers, I know that everyone has their specialties, but that looks bad to me, at least. It's like you need that many specialties at once. You accused of that many things that you go ahead and break up the work like a group project. And then to say you have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 92 lawyers, for any one of them to quit does make everything look worse. You know who didn't quit? OJ's lawyer. OJ's lawyer saw everything. He even saw him in the Bronco, and he was still like, I got you. We're gonna be good. You know who else didn't quit? Jeffrey Dahmer's lawyer. He saw that to the end. Ted Bundy didn't even quit defending himself. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Let me see how this plays out. At any point, he could be like, you know what? I'm making me look extra guilty. Let me go ahead and get some help in here. No, it's mind-blowing. I don't get it. You represent Osama bin Laden. And he was number one in the war. You went for the criminal. You repped the criminal. And whatever we're finding out about Diddy behind closed doors, you were like, not this. Yuck. No. Because you see people in situations where they look incredibly guilty or they do something very dumb that's almost indefensible and they still have legal representation that sticks by them. There was a dude who, okay. I shouldn't laugh, but it's one of the dumbest crimes I've ever heard of. So basically, there was this dude who went to break into it was his house. He lived with his mom, right? But he was going to go ahead and rob the house and try to sell a bunch of stuff off, right? So then he broke into the house and then got caught because I guess police were just happened to drive by, right? And then they see him breaking the window, going into the house, had a key, breaking the window, going into the house, and then coming out with the stuff. They arrest him, and he can't believe. He's like, you have no right to arrest me. And at first, because he's explaining everything, he thought they had no right to arrest him because it was his place where he lived with his mom, even though it was her house, right? And he said, no, you have no right to arrest me because it's daytime. He genuinely believes you could only get arrested for burglary at night. And his lawyer didn't quit. There was a dude who he tried to rob a bank. He ran up in the bank. This was years ago. This dude ran up in the bank and had his gun out. And he was like, go ahead and empty everything right now. I'll kill everybody. I don't care. Swinging the gun and everything. And then the tellers were like, do you want a bag? Because he just came in, just him and the gun, just waving, him and the gun. No bag, not even a backpack, just here with the gun. The money now. And they were like, would you like something to hold it with or anything? And he was like, damn right, it's a real gun.
And they're like, sir, we asked, would you like a bag? Would you like a bag with the money? We're getting the money right now, but would you like a bag? And he's like, you're right, I've had it. And then they turn to each other and they're like, I don't think he can hear us. And so then they hit the alarm. The alarm going off, this dude's standing there, I'm waiting for my money. And they're like, no, we're getting it. They get the money, they get the bag, and before he can even leave the bank, cops roll up. And basically, yeah, he was hearing impaired. And so then he sued them for taking advantage of his disability. And his lawyer stood by him. Do you see how this normally works? That's how it's supposed to go. Your lawyer is supposed to stand by you. They're supposed to be your ride or die. Diddy's lawyer said, no, I like to live and I will not be getting in the car. Oh, that's insanity. That many lawyers. You got 98,000 lawyers. I feel like Diddy just gonna keep hiring lawyers to make sure there's no one left to be on the jury. I don't even know what you would do. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at a situation like this where the whole world knows about Diddy and Diddy's case, right? It's global news, right? And everyone is expecting things to come out during his case, so there's more eyes on it than even when it started. It wasn't just a thing that popped up, oh, Diddy got arrested, and then it's over. It's the fact that all of Hollywood could be implicated. That's the feeling that people have, right? So people are going to be watching the trial nonstop for every update possible, because maybe your favorite pop star, maybe your least favorite R&B artist, whoever, right, will be involved in this case somehow. And so the whole world will be watching, and the whole world already knows. So how could you not have, in a sense, at least if you're Diddy's defense, a tainted jury? Because how are you going to pull from people who can be impartial, who don't know who Diddy is, right? And then when you pull those people, a judge can say, and judges tell people all the time, look, I don't want you to engage with any media about the case. I don't want you reading any tabloids or social media or anything like that. And don't talk to anybody about the case. No podcast, no whatever, right? No interviews, no nothing. And even if you do that, it's impossible, because the way that we live in the world and the way that we interact with social, to not be bombarded with things about whatever the biggest news topic is. So then how is it possible for Diddy to have a fair jury, right? And his lawyer could have made that case just now. And instead he said, no, I'm getting away from this dude. I cannot be near him at all. That's so bad that the only black lawyer he had was like, nah. You're not gonna get me caught up. Because, you know, I think he's just scared. I think he's scared that he's so close to it that he's literally just representation, but he might go to jail. That can happen. I didn't know that could happen, but that can happen. I had never seen it happen in my life until Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, in case you don't remember, was Trump's lawyer. And Trump got in some legal trouble, and somehow Michael Cohen went to jail. That's a superpower. That's a superpower if I've ever seen one. I've never seen someone dodge charges so hard they hit their lawyer in the chest. That's crazy. That's the I'm rubber, you're glue of law. That's insane. Trump had all this legal trouble. He's like, take him, Michael. I'm sure Diddy's lawyer saw that and was like, that could happen to me. I refuse. My last name is already Rico. No, have to get away. Because who takes up for you is huge. Who takes up for you in a situation where you're in the public eye and you have a scandal, or you've been found to have done something, right? Whoever takes up for you, they do shift the narrative around you, and they do shift public opinion, either for you or against you, right? Like, let's say in a scenario
right? Completely hypothetical scenario. Let's say I'm driving. I can't. I'm very bad at it. But let's say I'm driving. Once again, this would never happen, all right? I failed my driving test and I have not driven since, okay? I'm very bad. But let's say I'm driving behind the wheel of a car, which I should never be. It's a chair that could kill someone. It is insane that people just get in those and just go. Like, that blows my mind. I will take an Uber or the bus. I am fine without being behind the wheel of a death machine because all it takes is your foot and you could just take anybody out. That's crazy. I don't like being in cars in the front driving. Every time I move, it moves. That's crazy. I don't like that at all. I'll sit in the back. But let's say I'm driving, okay? And I'm driving because maybe my friend is hurt. Maybe my friend's like, oh no, I'm bleeding. No, I've been shot, whatever it is. And then he's like, you have to drive me to the hospital. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll kill us both. And so then I get in the car. And then I'm hitting stuff. I'm just because I don't know which one's the gas and which one's the brake. Because honestly, they should be further apart. In my opinion, it should be like go-karts, like right foot gas, left foot brake, and then you can just drive like this. This feels more natural to me. I don't know what y'all are doing with this thing. This feels insane. To see people doing this all the time, ooh, I'ma start, I'ma stop, I'ma start, I'ma stop, whatever. I want to just do it like when you're in a go-kart. I drive so well in a go-kart, not just because I can't go fast enough to murder, but also because I know that left is stop, and that's fine. But sometimes you get the foot, uh-oh, I've hit them both. What does that do? So then I'm in the car and I'm driving, right? And I'm doing it poorly because I do it poorly. Because as I've said before, on stage, to many people, I don't like lefts. So I take rights until I get there, okay? So I'm just gonna take a right and then take a right, take a right. My friend probably gonna bleed out, but I'm taking these rights because a left will kill everybody, right? Now, I get to the hospital. Let's say I've got to the hospital and I have run over at least 26 people, okay? So I'm being arrested. My friend is hopefully being treated, so I've saved his life, but I am in a lot of trouble. And let's say that Dolly Parton came to my defense, right? Because I'm not famous enough to get in trouble on the news, but there might be a couple of tweets where it's like, do you see that comedian just floored everybody? Just drove on the sidewalk for 6 blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 4 more blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 2 blocks and then took a right and then got to the hospital and hit somebody in front of the hospital. And I only hit them because I was trying to hit the brake, but it should be over here. But instead, it's in the middle. I guess. I don't know. I'm never in the car right there. I don't know what y'all do. Why isn't it just pep? Why isn't it just buttons? Let me hit a gas button. That would be nice. To just have the wheel and then a button. Right thumb is gas, left thumb is brake, and it's like a video game. But instead, you're just over here. Crazy way to do it, but y'all do you, okay? Let's say, though, that Dolly Parton comes to my defense. Probably never gonna happen. I don't know her. Would love to, but let's say. She's like, I know Josh personally, okay? And I know he would never purposely run over 26 people. It must have been something that happened. And you say he was in a car. He said he would never do that. It must be an emergency. Oh, he was trying to help his friend. Y'all, please, if you can find it in your heart, to forgive Josh and his dumb feet. I'm just saying, if Dolly Parton came to my defense, I think that would shift a lot of people's opinion of me. Everyone loves Dolly Parton. Everybody knows Dolly Parton is a sweetheart. And so if she came to someone's defense, you would think, oh, if Dolly sees something in this person, then yeah, maybe they're a good person. Maybe she's right. Maybe he didn't mean to run over 26 people. No. I don't know what Diddy does from here, because the guy who represented Osama bin Laden dipped. I don't know who you get after that. That seemed like the bottom or the top, depending on what your definition of willing to represent evil is. I don't like if the dude who represented Osama is like, I'm a dip. I don't know who else would jump in. You know, Giuliani. Okay, well he lost his license. I'm positive he lost his license. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's the only one who can do it. I have no idea. Because someone did come to Diddy's defense in the wake of Diddy losing that representation, you know, close proximity to Diddy's lawyer being like, I can't do this anymore. Someone did come to Diddy's defense publicly. Unfortunately, it was Kanye West. In a tweeting tirade, Kanye West went on an absolute rampage. He called himself a Nazi. He posted a bunch of like anti-Semitic stuff. He said all sorts of things. And then he said, by the way, free Puff. I think if you're Diddy in jail, you're like, this is worse. That is worse. I did not know it could get worse than the Osama bin Laden lawyer leaving me. But this is bad. This is very, very bad. That was me kind of like doing a little bit of rap in the way that Diddy does it because he's not good at it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, this is bad. This is worse because he's calling himself a Nazi and then he's like also that guy. Think of that guy and me. Together right now. Think of when you think of me, I want you to think of him, all right? But who knows? Maybe when the lawyer who represented Osama bin Laden dips, maybe the only person left to represent you is Ye. I think that's I could see that. I could see Ye showing up to court being like, Your Honor, I rest my case.